it's funny when we do, food plots, land management type things, we think in our minds that it's instant gratification when in a lot of times that it's not. We get this sense that, oh, well, if I put this little, quarter acre food plot in, or, I put this Egyptian wheat up, or I put a mock scrape in, or if you're one of the type of people that use minerals on the ground, you make a mineral hole, that we're going to grow monster deer and hold all the deer in the area on your property, and nothing can be further from the truth. And that goes back to, land management doesn't really guarantee anything. The only thing that it guarantees is, it increases your odds of seeing deer, but in a way, it also can decrease your odds of seeing deer. And the difference is, we think, again, that we put this food plot in, or we do this, or we do that. We can do whatever we want on our land and, access our lands however we want, and it's just going to bring the deer in no matter what. But a lot of times is we make all these improvements and make your property extremely attractive, like every inch of it, and then you all of a sudden you have no room to move on your property in non-deer areas, and then every time you access the woods, you're pushing the deer out, and then you think in your mind, well, what's going on? I have all these improvements. The deer have to be here. And the reason I'm bringing this video up is because I've had this question a lot this year, where people are making these food plots, they're whatever it is that they're doing with their land management, and they see deer instantly, right? That's the instant gratification part. But within weeks, the deer are gone. Then you start getting messages, and you start seeing all these Facebook groups and posts and things like, oh, the deer disappeared. They magically, they're like gone. Poof, they're gone. And the only explanation for that is pressure. We are pressuring the deer too much after you make all these improvements, and that's what happens. Your property is super attractive. You have the best food, you have the best trees, you have the best browse, you have the best mock scrapes, whatever it is, and you're constantly pushing the deer out, and it pushes them out of your area into other people's property. So if people are always talking about protecting deer and growing deer and things like that. Well, you can't grow deer if every time you walk in the woods and you're pushing the deer out onto your neighbor's property and then they shoot them, right? But obviously we can't protect all the deer, and that's another thing too is, a lot of guys will shoot, a 4-pointer or something, and that's fine. Whatever you want to shoot. Me, I don't want to shoot a 4-pointer. I don't want to shoot a 6-pointer. I want to shoot a mature buck. I don't care if it scores 100 inch. I don't care if it scores 197 inches. Doesn't matter. If it's a 3-4-year-old buck and it excites me, I'm going to shoot the heck out of it. But you can't shoot 4-pointers every year and expect your property to have big deer. How do deer get big? Food, genetics, birthdays. If you don't give the deer a birthday, how the heck is he going to get bigger, right? So, and the other theory, people's mindset is, well, if I don't shoot it, the neighbor's going to shoot it. Well, if you shoot it, then it's definitely not going to live. And if you pass it, I guarantee it doesn't mean that your neighbor's going to shoot it either. Because how do you think that buck, that 6-pointer or 8-pointer, became an 8-pointer, right? He got lucky. He missed walking by your neighbors. You let him go. Somebody let that deer go, or it just didn't walk past a hunter. So with all of this, with the management goals and the food plot, you have to have realistic goals. Each property is different. Each area is different. Each county is different. Each 100 acres is different. You know, you may hunt in an area that's super pressured with your neighbors, you know, and they're shooting everything they see. Or your property just doesn't really hold deer. Or you're pressuring your deer too much. You're pushing the deer out and your neighbors are shooting them and you're stressing the deer and they just move, you know, onto your property at night. You create a nocturnal, you know, situation where the deer are only accessing your property at night. So there's pros and cons to everything. Food plots are great. Food plots are the best thing in the world. But if you put them in wrong spots where you can't access your property, then they're the worst thing in the world, because they will repel the deer faster than anything. You know, they want that green food source when it's palatable and nutritious and, you know, all that stuff. But when you pressure it, you push them off and it'll repel the deer. So this is kind of like a broad video with, you know, pressuring deer. You know, land management doesn't guarantee anything. Having realistic goals, it's all built into this video. And some properties, some areas, just doesn't grow monster deer. It's not that you're doing something wrong. Each area is going to produce a different quality deer. You know, here where I'm at, and on this property, is there going to be 150, 180 inch deer? Probably not. Is there going to be quality 8 points, 120, 30, 40 inches? Sure, we have them. I've had my fair share of mistakes this year, you know, with my bow exploding, me accidentally shooting a deer, you know, grazing its leg. It was a 10 point. And then I missed another monster buck. It was probably, you know, 140s, 150s for this area. Is huge. It was a big deer, and I missed him. I had a rough season, you know, with that. But I don't expect to grow, you know, 150, 60, 70, 80 inch deer. You know, there's not going to be a lot of them in this area. And now, if you go to Iowa, Kentucky, you know, Ohio, even parts of Maryland, in certain areas, there's big deer. Like, there's quality big bucks. You know, my biggest deer was 182 inches. I shot in Maryland, you know, in an area where that was not considered to have big deer. But these deer get older. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Don't beat yourself up over it if you're not shooting, you know, a big deer every year. Each person's situation is different. Not everybody gets to hunt, you know, 2, 3, 4 days a week. Sometimes you can't pick and choose, you know, the days that you hunt according to whatever the weather or rain or snow. Sometimes you just hunt when you can hunt. You know, sometimes you have to work. You know, the typical person works Monday through Friday, and it leaves you 1 or 2 days a week to hunt with people with families and kids. And, you know, like TJ, he comes once a year, right? He's got a wife, a kid, or 2 kids, and he cannot get out very often. So you get out when you can. You take advantage of when you can go out, you know. And I don't really get to hunt a whole lot either. You know, I had a message from somebody on YouTube the other day. It must be nice to hunt every day. Dude, I don't hunt every day. I maybe hunt once or twice a week, if that. And then I'll take vacations, you know. I'll hunt for, you know, 3, 4, 5 days, and then I go back to work, you know. So it's just one of them things where, again, you have to have realistic goals depending on the area, depending on the property, depending on your neighbors, depending on the food in the area, depending how much money you have to spend. You have to keep it realistic. And, you know, like I said, Ohio, Kentucky, Iowa, 180 inch deer is fairly common. You know, if you're in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, you know, the Carolinas, parts of Maryland, you get what you get. And that's, you know, 110, 20, 30 inch bucks, which is a good deer. If the deer excites you, shoot it. But if you're one of those guys that, you know, it's constantly, you know, throwing on Facebook or telling your buddies or something that you want to shoot, you know, quality deer, and you did all these management practices, and then you shoot a 4-pointer because you got desperate, you're not going to have big deer. You know, shoot a doe. You know, shoot a doe. I don't care what you shoot. I don't really give a crap what you shoot. I care about what I shoot. But what you do, it doesn't really matter to me. You know, each person has different goals. Each person has different management strategies. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And it, again, keep it simple, keep it basic, keep it realistic, and don't stress yourself out about the whole picture of land management. You know, it doesn't guarantee anything. Again, do your research. Trial and error, guys. It's all about trial and error. That's the way you learn. If you don't fail, you're not trying enough. I fail a lot, you know. Sometimes you get food plot failures. Sometimes you don't shoot a buck that year. Sometimes you don't shoot any deer. It's just one of them things where you learn each year. You figure it out. You figure it out, what you did wrong, what you can do better, and you apply that the following year. And I'll close it with this is, it's what you do this year that benefits next year. Always remember that, no matter what it is in life, hunting, your family, or your girlfriend, your wife, if you're a woman, your boyfriend, no matter your job, no matter what it is, it's always what you do this year benefits next year. I'll see you guys.